DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, Esport Management, and GGBet.
Welcome to day 2 of the DreamHack Open, coming to you live from Tour France. Yesterday, Valiance and Vanguard secured their spots in Sunday's playoffs, where they'll be in contention for the $100,000 prize pool and the DreamHack Open trophy. Today, we'll say au revoir to 4 of the teams, and in the first half of the day, we'll be saying goodbye to either Windigo, Instinct, Ghost, or G2. But the winners of those matchups will go on to face either Mouse or French Frogs to decide who sees it through to Championship Sunday. I am Frankie Ward, and before we get started, I need to say a massive merci beaucoup to our sponsors. They are Corsair Esports Management, and they're also, how can I forget, they're also the lovely, wonderful, fantastic, I'm going to really big this up right now, Monster Energy. I haven't had my Monster for the day, but after this segment, I'm definitely going to have a can. And I need to say fantastic, because we have our 2 fantastic analysts, and they are Potter and Blair. How are you guys doing?
Feeling fantastic.
Good. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
She's learning.
J'ai très fatigué ce matin. So I'm very sorry, everyone.
Oui?
But yesterday, we had 6 epic matches. And we're going to have even more epic matches today, because we've got 4 best-of-3 series. And it's all about who is going home as well as who is going through to Championship Sunday. So who really impressed you yesterday, Potter?
I gotta say Valiance. I mean, I thought my expectations were not that high for them, but now they've set the bar really high for themselves, and they really showed up yesterday, so I was impressed.
Yeah, I would agree with you on this, right? When coming to this tournament, you look at G2, you look at Mouse Sports, even Windigo, and these are the guys you're like, all right, and Avangard as well, right? You're like, these are the guys probably going to be going through, and Valence was there, but I'm like, maybe they might struggle a bit, but they looked the most impressive yesterday.
Wow. I've got this bottle of champagne, guys.
It's still not open yet.
It's still not open, and no, apparently we're still not allowed to open it.
You've been teasing us with the champagne.
I've been teasing you. Me? No. I've been teased in my ears. Apparently, it's still not allowed this. We've got to put it away. Every morning I come in and look at it and love it, and then I can't open it. It's very sad indeed. Very sad indeed. But we should actually talk a bit about yesterday's matches. Of course, we kicked off Mouse versus Instinct. No surprises there.
No surprises there. Yeah, absolutely. I think Instinct got off to a pretty good start, 3 rounds. Like, maybe they might do something, and then Woxic was like, no.
Yeah, those were the only 3 rounds. I think they got maybe one more after that.
Yeah, they got one more in the second half.
So it was definitely a very slow start for Instinct, and you could definitely see that they were not very prepared on that Inferno, or at least their game plan wasn't quite on the right track. They definitely didn't have the CT side down at all, Blair.
Yeah, they got just completely... I mean, when Woxic, Carrigan, and of course Chris J as well, this is walking in and taking over the B bomb site single-handedly. That means there's something which is a massive flaw on that particular map. Maybe we might see something different on perhaps a map like maybe Mirage or Dusty, which allows, more puggish teams to kind of shine. But Inferno, like we spoke about this yesterday, unless you have those protocols well drilled in, it's always going to be a problem, especially against a team like Mouse Sports.
And Otto getting all those frags over on that elbow side of Dust 2. I hope that we see Dust 2 again today, actually. And I hope that the CTs take a note from Otto there. With that AUG, the long distance range fights have become so much easier, I suppose, for the CTs to actually take those battles. So that's definitely a really nice angle for Otto.
Well, let's take a look at the bracket. Want to see who is up for contention and when we're going to see those matches. So as you can see, this is going to be Championship Sunday. So Avangard and Valiance, as we mentioned before, they're already through. The question is, who is going to be seeing them there on Sunday?
Well, I mean, 3 names are on the tip of our tongues, right? It's going to be Windigo, Mouse Sports, and obviously G2, but one of these guys are not going to make it through, which is going to be kind of a heartbreak for these guys. And we can clearly see here, if you look at this, Valiant were the most impressive team. By far, they won both the games very convincingly. Mouse, great opening game, then kind of fell flat, I felt like, in the second game against Valiant. Instinct and Windigo, now that's a different story. Windigo have underperformed, right? They didn't seem to really show up. That's what Valiant said as well. Next, I mentioned how Windigo were just not playing well yesterday at all. So they need to really wake up today.
They definitely do. And I mean, yeah, Windigo seemed like they didn't show up for the match, but Instinct seemed like they were a little lost in their match. So it's definitely going to be interesting as they are our first match for today.
Exactly, as they are our first match for today. We're going to talk about them in more detail in a little bit. But what about our other teams who are fighting for their place today? What about G2, for example? They're going to be fighting for survival. We never expected that to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be a little rough for them, right? Luckily for them, I think they're going to be facing off against Ghost. That is, I mean, I feel bad for saying it, but Ghost don't have Freakazoid, right? And despite putting up a showing yesterday in a best-of-3 against G2, G2 should have this in the bag. They still have another match after that, of course, but for G2 to be in this situation, they have only themselves to blame.
They should, but I mean, Nuke yesterday, they were up 15-13. They should have been able to close that match out, and we predicted that match should have been a fairly easy one for G2, but they ended up losing that match in OT. So although they are facing a Ghost with a ringer in their coach, it's a little worrisome for G2 to not be able to close out matches like that.
Okay, so let's swing back to Instinct versus Windigo then. Potter, you've got 3 reasons. Do you want to share them with us?
Yes, I've got 3 reasons, and this is 3 reasons why both teams should play better today. With reason number 1, it's because Windigo played versus a really strong Valiant yesterday on Mirage, and so we didn't really get to see them actually invest themselves into that match. They never really got things rolling, so hopefully they have a better start today. And reason number 2 is Instinct had very clear mistakes on Inferno. If they went back to the hotel and they were able to watch their demo, they're going to be able to see that Mouse Sports had a lot of tells and reads on them, so hopefully they reviewed that. And reason number 3 is this is a best of 3. They're going to have 3 potential chances to beat each other in this series. And so, yeah, I think it should be a lot better and a lot more competitive today.
The question for me, though, is where were Windigo yesterday? Because the last time they faced Valiant, it was 2-1 and they won. It was online, but at the same time, they set a precedent and then they lost.
Yeah,
and they lost horribly.
They did, but you know, Windigo, it was on Mirage, and you can see that their setups and their game plan, it should have worked, but Hunter, he was just bullying them on Mirage, on their T side. You can see that Hunter was just rushing up connector a lot of the times with an SMG, and he was just getting so many multi-kills. And so when a game snowballs out of control like that for you, it's sometimes very hard to get back into it. And so you just have to take a match like that with a grain of salt.
So is there anyone who can step it up on behalf of Windigo today?
I think everyone else needs to step up. I think we saw so many scenarios that Poison was with the op, and yeah, he was getting kills here and there, but we noticed how none of those kills would really impact frag, so to speak, right? There were kills while on the retake and whatnot. I think what they need to do is start locking down the sites. It doesn't matter what map it is, because many of the times the sites were just they were allowing them to go for the plant, and then the retakes were kind of discombobulated, wasn't really on point. And I really think everyone as a team, like you look at all the names they have in this lineup, like Victor and the rest of the gang, they need to kind of like play their roles right and set up Poison to be the star that we know he can be.
For sure. And I mean, Ships, again, they lost 16-4, so it's not really much you can take away from that. But none of the players, even Poison, we talk about Poison being the star of this lineup, but he also didn't show up. And so definitely I think all 5 players on Windigo need to show up today to really have confidence moving forward into this tournament.
Now, Blair, you're like my map man. I often come to you and try and find out your predictions for the maps. It's quite hard with Instinct.
This is actually one of the trickier ones to predict or try to figure out what's going to happen here, right? Because Windigo, I think, obviously have they're the firm favorites here again, and also they have I wouldn't just say the map pool, the map depth, but whatever map that these guys in Instinct like playing, Windigo is just clearly better. You can just look at the stats as well. They have a much more better win record on it and whatnot. And I think the only map where Windigo might potentially struggle against Instinct would be on perhaps maybe a Nuke, because the French teams do like playing Nuke. We saw it yesterday as well, but To be very honest, I don't know what Instinct are going to do here. They might want to go for a Dust 2, maybe a Mirage, maybe a little bit more puggish map, try and catch Wendigo flat-footed, but that's about it. I don't know which way they're going to go here.
For sure, and this is a BO3, right? This is the times when you don't have the options to veto out your weaker maps. I mean, your opponent can definitely pick the stronger maps for themselves. So if I'm Wendigo, I'm going for Inferno, Train, or Overpass, and if I'm Instinct, I'm definitely going for Dust 2 or Mirage.
So no Vertigo then. Still no Vertigo, guys.
No.
My heart breaks. You hate to see it.
I'm actually happy there's no Vertigo. God damn, I hate watching that.
Why do you hate watching Vertigo? Is it because people just go A?
Yeah. I think that pretty much summarizes it. I like this. I like the fact that they picked Nuke. Like I said, Nuke is a map that they can potentially pull up upset on. Why? Is because Wendigo don't really play it that well, to be very honest. I'm surprised that Wendigo banned Vertigo out, because even Instinct don't like playing Vertigo, right? But I guess they're a little worried that if Vertigo comes into play, if it just comes down to being an all-out brawl, Instinct might be able to pull off the win here. So Nuke getting picked makes absolute sense from coming in from Instinct. Overpass pick from Wendigo is obvious. I was surprised that they let it through. I thought they probably might ban out Overpass, because I don't see any world, any parallel universe or whatever, where Instinct are going to beat Wendigo on Overpass, right? And Inferno being the final decider, no surprises there. I hope Instinct went back and looked at the demo yesterday and figured out what went wrong, because if they do the same thing they did yesterday, Wendigo is going to have a very easy time if it goes to map number 3.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very difficult series for Instinct to come out of, because as we said on Inferno yesterday, they looked a little lost. They didn't really have a solid game plan going into their defensive side on that Inferno. And today with the 3 maps, Overpass, it's such a strategy-heavy map. It's such a map that you can't get away with just briefly knowing what to do. So it's definitely, you have to be very thorough, and so this is a little worrisome for Instinct.
This is a little worrisome, but this Nuke pick could actually work out, I personally feel, right? Like, we saw it yesterday against French Frogs in G2, we're like, yeah, G2 should have this. We put all the logic on the table, and the logic just went out the window, where, you know, you, as a team, when you're more cohesive, you've been playing together for a while, you should be a better Nuke team here. I like the Nuke pick. I think that's where they might be a little lucky, because look at any other map that's going to play on Mirage. Not really going to work out against Wendigo, right? Overpass, obviously, Wendigo is a better team. Dust 2, every map you look at, Wendigo have the upper hand. Maybe Dust 2 could have worked out here, but yeah, I agree with you, Paul. I think it's going to be a little rough here. It could just very well be a 2-0.
Well, let's talk more about Instinct. They'll be praying that this goes to a 3rd map, because, hey, they had a solid start on their CT side yesterday on Inferno for the first 3 rounds, and then it all went wrong, but they won both pistols. So are we expecting much from Instinct? What's their secret? Do they have one?
So the thing is, right, CS is not pistol deathmatch, and it's not about, you know, getting eco rounds all the time. They did not win a single buy round, a single full gun round against Mousebots. That is very telling, especially because it started on the CD side of a map like Inferno, which is traditionally a little bit more CD-sided, right? So looking at all these players, like we know most of them, right? We know Tuanu, we know Devek, we know Devil. We've seen what they can do, but I did not see a semblance of this old LDLC lineup yesterday, not even close to what they have been able to do in the past.
For sure, and we spoke about the Inferno. We got to keep talking about their Inferno and the reasons why they were so easily beat, and it's the sound cues, it's the rotations from Instinct. Mousebots, all they needed to do was just get into slightly forward positions and just listen. And it was free information, and information is everything in this game in such a competitive atmosphere. It's free information. You can never give that to your opponents, but Instinct was. They were running around through that CT spawn corridor, just running back and forth because they didn't know where to rotate to. And Mousebots heard all of that information, free information, and they were just able to calculate which bomb site to go to. So I think Instinct definitely need to walk a little bit more, be a little bit more calculated on their movements on the map, and try to communicate a little bit more, I think.
Especially given that we often talk about Inferno as being very banana focused at the moment. There's a lot of battles that happen there, and there seem to be very few yesterday. And you're playing Mouse, you're playing a tier 1 team.
Yeah. Absolutely. Look, banana control, I know it sounds like a cliche, but the fact that you can always make the T struggle to retake it or maybe get control of that. You don't just give up map control all over the place. First map coming up is Overpass, right? And if Instinct, if they start on the CD side or when they get their turn to play the CT side, if they're just going to play crossfires on the bomb side, they are going to get completely hammered by this Wendigo lineup, because the thing with Overpass is, what I like seeing, I know there are different styles of playing it, but I'd like to see aggression from the CD side where they force the Ts to spend time in utility to get map control, and then, when the timer runs out, they force the Ts to panic or make mistakes while taking the site. side. What I saw from them yesterday in Inferno, if they replicate it on Overpass or even Nuke or even any of the maps we're seeing today, they're in for a very rough time because Windigo are just going to abuse the fact that they have so many options, so many avenues. And Overpass, Potter, like the second you have information, you can just like run from A towards B, and it's so easy to confuse the CT side, right?
For sure. And I mean, it's not rocket science at this point. We've got Astralis, we've got Liquid, we've got Navi, we've got all these teams that these lower tier teams can look up to and really copycat. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And there's a lot of approaches to these maps, but there's the most optimal ones. And these tier 1 teams have already figured out the optimal approaches to the CT side and the T side. So just copy them and put a little bit of a twist of your flair on it. However, there are optimal ways to approach Banana. There are optimal ways to approach Overpass. So hopefully Instinct have taken a look at that and are trying to copy that.
Now, Windigo. Yesterday, there wasn't really a standout player. They were all pretty even across the board, but unfortunately, they were evenly spread and they were evenly spread low.
Yeah.
So the question is the key to this team winning today sticking together rather than going out and going loosey-goosey?
I think, I personally feel like we didn't see the Windigo that we expected to see. I don't think anyone expected to see such an underperforming Windigo. If they just play to their usual standard, nothing crazy, just the usual standard, they should have this very comfortably in the bag.
For sure. If I'm Windigo, I'm sticking to my strengths and sticking to my game plan. But if I'm Instinct, I am getting a little loosey-goosey. I am trying to test the waters a little bit because, you know, there's less pressure on you. You got nothing to lose, so see what you can do. Like, take an inch and make that a mile.
Question is, do they actually want to go through to Championship Sunday? We'll soon see, but you picked a couple of players, Blair, to go head-to-head.
Yeah, Tuanu and Poison. Poison, obviously, because he's if you look at the kills they had yesterday, right? I don't want to like harp too much on the kills and whatnot, but you can see both of them were underperforming. Tuanu, not necessarily the star player, but he has been a player in the past historically who has been kind of like, you know, the pillar of the team, so to speak, in whatever lineup is played on. So I would really like to see Tuanu really step it up a notch. And obviously for Poison, I'm not too worried for Windigo for this game, to be honest, but if they want to make it to the playoffs, we need to see the Poison that we want to see for the duration of this day.
If you would like to have your say on who you think is going to win, you can do that in Twitch chat now, ! And then you can see the two names of the teams. Don't write the whole name, you can see them, Inst or Wind.
Go.
I think it's not going to be a Brexit vote this time. It's not going to be 52-48. I think it's going to be pretty clearly in Windigo's favour. But don't let me put words into your mouth, Twitch chat. You should have your say right now. In terms of Windigo, if they do win this, like, I haven't asked your predictions yet, but probably expecting them to, let's face it. Do they still have a chance of going through to Championship Sunday?
You know, I think so. But it all starts with this series. It all starts with this BO3, right? We talk about teams being able to progress and get better throughout the tournament, and this is exactly the definition of that. Windigo they had such a slow start yesterday, and if they come in again with the same mentality today, it's going to be really rough for them throughout the entire tournament, even if they win this series. So they need a fresh start, they need a strong start, and they need to carry that momentum throughout.
Okay, Blair.
Yeah,
Predictions,
all right. This one's easy. I am going to be my usual Debbie Downer self, and I'm going to say Windigo's going to take this in a very easy fashion.
I've got to agree. I think Windigo is going to take this fairly easily as well.
And are we thinking that it could be a 2-0 or a 2-1?
It's a 2-0.
2-0.
Why are you just agreeing with each other all the time?
Logic.
Yeah. Logic wins here, but you know what? I mean, we didn't really get to see Instinct shoot their guns very often yesterday at all. They were just kind of losing in the rotation. So if they get to shoot today, maybe.
No, that's the thing, right? It's a first-person shooter. You click heads, you shoot people. If you don't do that, it's hard to win.
So you're basically saying, as long as Windigo sticking with the point at the end, so to. It's not
like Overwatch where you press F and you just like, you know, win. It's an instant win button or something like that.
No.
F is my melee.
You don't press F in.
Q, come on.
Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Q's the ultimate.
I don't know about these games.
You need to sort your keybinds out, mate, or just maybe play some CS.
No, I'm talking about Overwatch.
I know. Why are you talking about Overwatch? That's my point. Why are you talking about Overwatch? I
like talking about Overwatch.
Do you? You're on the wrong show, mate.
That's all right. I can deal with it.
No. Right. We've got predictions for Windigo, and producer Dagny is going to hate me for saying this, but I'm also saying Windigo. And the reason I have to say that is not because of logic, it's because I needed to get to the venue today, and they had a spare seat in their car, and they let me jump in with them. And
Good guys, Windigo.
To be fair, I never asked Instinct if I could ride with them, but the Bulgarians were very friendly to me, and I feel like I owe them a debt, and so I will repay that debt by saying I think you're going to win, and I think you're going to do it, Windigo, so please don't let me down. Otherwise, I'm always avoiding your car in future. Now we can see Twitch chat. 62% Windigo, 38% Instinct.
A lot of French fans on Twitch chat.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, yeah.
Well, let's see what the casters are saying. We've got Double H waiting for us, the twins, Harry and Hugo.
Mary and Pippin.
Ooh, twins, how are you doing?
Do you have a baguette hidden under the table today, Hugo?
Or am I just happy to see you guys? I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out later. We'll see what the Frenchies are up to. But yeah, Windigo Instinct. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
No, definitely. And Frankie, it's weird, right? Windigo guys actually gave us a lift home yesterday as well, right? So they've like started their own taxi business out here in Tor or something.
Do you think that they're trying to grease our pockets a bit?
I mean, it's working. Because I'm going to say, I think Windigo take this 2-0 as well.
Well, let's see what happens. We're going to go into you guys now. We're going to head backstage and have a watch. And let's see what happens.